with Dr. Leyland. Step into the future, the world is waiting now. Dreams are in the making, we'll show you how. From the books to the screen, from the stage to the stars, level up your game, let's raise the bar. Innovation, inspiration, it's in our DNA. Breaking through the limits, we're paving the way. Level up, reach the sky, take the lead, don't be shy. Your story's worth it, your light will shine. At Level Up Academy, it's your time. Oh, it's your time. At Level Up Academy, we rise and climb. Empowered in your passion, your voice will be heard. Building a legacy with every word. From podcasts to pages, from business to art, Level Up's the place where it all can start. With heart and with vision, we're chasing every goal. Together we'll ignite the fire in your soul. Level up, reach the sky, take the lead, don't be shy. Your story's worth it, your light will shine. At Level Up Academy, it's your time. Oh, it's your time. At Level Up Academy, we rise and climb. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh, we're trailblazing, breaking through the mold. Dreams are alive, let your story unfold. With courage and pride, we'll take the fight. At Level Up, we own the night. Level up, reach the sky, take the lead, don't be shy. Your story's worth it, your light will shine. At Level Up Academy, it's your time. Oh, it's your time. At Level Up Academy, we rise and climb. So let's level up and never look back. On the road to greatness, we're on the right track. Together we'll soar, together we'll thrive. At Level Up Academy, we're alive.
Woo! Hello, everybody. I'm sure you can hear Cheerio panting. Janice was just telling me, wait, I hear like some kind of dog, like breathing. I was like, yeah, that's Cheerio. Everybody knows in my show that my English bulldog always with me. And when she gets hot, she will pant all night long. Sometimes I can't sleep, so I had to kick her out of the room because she is loud. And the other one is even louder. So if you don't like being bothered, don't get an English bulldogs. They are so loud. They snore, they have flatulence. Let me tell you something until your nose is numb. I'm just saying. Happy Thursday, everybody. This is your host, Dr. Leland. So today we have Janice, but she already was here before. So we're not going to ask her the same questions. In fact, we're going to actually talk about the courage, the confidence, and connections, right? How do you have a blueprint to discover more of yourself? I think we have this movement lately that we no longer want the outside to affect us inside, but it's really hard because we're human beings and we're conditioned to do that. But the only way to get to know yourself, to create that blueprint or map yourself out, is intentions. And to do intentions, you have to dig deeper. And sometimes it's happy, sometimes it's scary, and sometimes it's traumatic when you're digging into yourself. But that's how you get to know yourself, right? And so we're going to talk to Janice about her journal today, but most importantly is how the heck did she created it? So we're going to have two parts, guys. The first part is going to be just kind of talking to Janice about what she what her framework of courage, confidence, and connection looks like. We talked a little bit about on the first episode that she was here with us. And then the second part is really talk about specifically on the journal and what's the content in there, and then give you guys the ability to buy it to see if that is something for you, right? So that's the two parts that we're going to do today. But first, my sponsors. Let's talk about my sponsors, guys. Happy Thursday, Mike. I will call you back, I promise. Okay. All right. So, sponsorships. I have Moving Beyond Boxes. So, Santa Dawn. This is my sister, near and dear to my heart. I actually took that picture in La Jolla. um I tell her to post, and she's such a good listener. She posts anytime I want her to. I have like a live Barbie. I put makeup on her, I put wig on her, I dress her up, I put her clothes, and then she just posts. And so I love it. I love doing that to people, making them feel good about themselves, but really creating the best version of themselves the way they're meant to be. And I love doing that. And so that is the reason why she and I do a lot of collaboration. And the reason for that is because she is not only amazing, but she also is open to work with anybody who sees work and values work as it should be. No judgment on anything else. And I think we're quick to judge people based on the way they look, the way they speak, right? Um, but you don't get to know the people. And that's why I loved this conversation today, because you get to know the people and you get to know, more importantly, yourself. Okay. So Susanna Dawn, her ideal work definitely is speaking, but she is teaching, she is creating a space for writing, because when we write our anthology, guys, it's not one of these anthologies that you see all over LinkedIn that everybody's a publisher today, apparently. um when we write, we actually do it for legacy. Okay, notice that all of our books, even though some of the people that we work with in the past no longer are in our circle, we still keep promoting the book, we still keep promoting them, right? Because it's not about the person at this moment, it's about the work that they did, because we are working for what? Legacy. Like when we die, we have nothing else to be remembered by but the stories that we put out there. And these are important, right? So even if we're not in anymore in the same circle, we continue to level you up and move you up for that reason. And Sasana and I works with so many people. I think I have like 100 stories last year. So that was kind of amazing that we wrote 72 stories in our anthology and about probably 20 to 30 on my magazine. So it was kind of fun to do. But if you need someone, we do editing, we do ghostwriting, we publish not just on Amazon. Okay, if you want to be on Barnes and Nobles, if you want to be on, Powell's, I think that's the one that's huge in Oregon. If you want to be on, actually, one of our anthology went into Miami University. I was like, what? Mike was on that. So 27 of those authors now are read in the textbook, literally in Miami University. So we do those things. And I also do academic publishing. So that's why I said we're not just publisher, just on Amazon, because those are only 15 countries. Anyhow, let's go ahead and move on to my next sponsor, which is my brother from another Mr. Mike Asherbrenner. And yes, he does call himself that. Okay, the redneck connector. The first time my husband actually said that, his eyes kind of opened up and said, "Did you just call him that?" I'm like, no, I didn't call him that. I'm being respectful. He calls himself that. That's why I call him that. So that is what Mike does, is connect everybody, also amplify their message. Kind of, we do similar things in a different way, right? And Mike does a lot of things, and we collaborate on so many projects together. And we've been doing this since 2023. I think Mike and I know each other since 2023 or 2022, something to that effect. But it's been a hot minute that I've known Mike and worked with him. He is amazing. He actually does a lot of not only connection, but also does sponsorship like I do. And he sometimes, once in a while, get into my realm and collaborate. I actually put him on Business Insider as well. Under Business Insider, he has that article. So go ahead and check out Mike. Now, we also have the Hounds of Business community, by the way, guys, and that's how Janice and I are part of. Bass, I had the ability to talk to him yesterday. Actually, was it yesterday? No, 2 days ago on his podcast, and we recorded some stuff that I don't think I have shared with anybody publicly. Me doing this for about 3 years, I didn't even know. I said something that I never even knew. He gets you comfortable. He is also providing an 8-week transformative journey for you. This is all about not only mental health, but really aligning yourself, right, to where you should be as a person, to the best of your version. We have many versions, guys, right? And so he does that. He has an 8-week program. It's not one fix and then you're good to go. It doesn't work like that. You know this, right? Nobody knows better than you that it doesn't take overnight to transform yourself. It takes work, it takes years, but so long as you are consistent with it, you will be okay. So he has that 8-week transformative journey. And then he creates a community called A Million Dreams, because once you actually graduate from that journey, he needs you to be with other people who graduated and create that journey consistently so that you can be accounted for, you have accountability, and you work together. Okay. So that is who my sponsors are for now. And then, of course, I have more, but I will go through it really quickly because I wanted to get to know Janice's journal. Don't you? I do. All right. So here's Bella Grace, and they are an amazing organization who does scientific testing on the things that they actually put out. Now, that Elixir product right there, guys, is the bomb diggity. I actually I take it. It's actually helping joint support. I don't know about you, but over the age of 40, I feel like my back is hurting more. My knee is hurting when I go up and down the stairs. I get fatigue, right? It's like I don't know if I'm the only one, but from what I'm hearing from all social media, I'm not the only one who's having this issue. So that elixir is like a magical elixir. But here's what, don't take my word for it. You can try it out yourself and really see. But I'm actually trying to get the scientists who created this elixir on my show one of these days. And so we can ask him questions like, where did you find it? How did you process it? What is it good for? What are some of the side effects, if there's any? Because these are wellness packages. It goes to medical spa. It goes to med spas and things like that. So we want to make sure that everything that we're taking in our body is good for us, especially me. I'm very anti-medicine. If I don't have to, I will not take it. But if I have to, I guess I will. I hate side effects, right? So that's why I always try to make sure that I research things that I'm putting in my body. And the lip gloss, I feel like I have a filler in my lips, even though I hate injections. It looks like I have filler injections because of that lippy. When you put it in, it has like this ingredients that when you put it in, it just plump your lips. It has collagen in it, but it's throughout the day, which I love. And then those two other ones are collagen mist and also before makeup and after makeup. You just look like you're glowing. Like when you see somebody who's pregnant and they look glowing, that's literally what that is, okay? On a bottle. So yes, if you see me glowing a little bit, like I'm pregnant, I'm not pregnant, guys. I'm too old to do that. But that is what's underneath my makeup, okay? So I love Bella Grace. And then, of course, their social media platform, all the social media influencers. I think the minimum they require is 25,000 followers in here. And actually seeing that you can educate people and you are showing up in social media, you will get into the program. If you said, I don't want to do influencing, I don't want to be an influencer, but I want to learn more. Yes, you can also learn more from all the social media influencers. They have global reach for influencing you. So check them out. Our Grateful book's coming out at the end of June. I just wanted to remind you, it's going to be so amazing with colorful pictures in there. And then the magazine for Level Up is coming out. This is, I think, our, sixth issue. I can't believe it's been 6th issue, guys. And it's coming out at the end of June as well. So we have a lot of things happening in the end of June. Are you guys ready for Janice? Because I know I am. Yes, we are. Definitely, right? Janice is like, what's up?
level up. It's time to rise, unlock your potential. Reach for the skies, transform pain to purpose, find clarity and stride. With Dr. Leyland leading, we stand side by side. Collaboration fuels us, together we thrive at Level Up Academy. Your dreams come alive.
Woo! That's always my vibe in the morning. How are you, Janice?
I'm
Welcome back.
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me back. This is exciting. I just can't wait to promote my journal. It's so
Me
exciting.
too. Yes.
Yeah.
So welcome. And the first thing that
Yeah.
I actually wanted to, as promised, I wanted to get the first part and digging deeper, right? Courage, confidence, and connection. First of all, a lot of people, as much as they want to have courage to do something, and they are actually brilliant on what they do already, right? In real life. But when
Mhm.
it comes to, let's say they want to be on podcasts or live stream, there it's just nerve wracking for some people at the first time. I remember the first time I did podcast, it's always been audio, and someone's like, "CJ, I think you need to show your face." I'm like, "Why?" Like, why? What's the point? And they're like, "No, because it's more authentic. They can see you more, and they see your
Yeah.
reaction." I was like, they're like, "Why are you complaining, CJ? You put your makeup at 5 in the morning. Like, what is the problem here? Like, you can't say I have to put my makeup, because I do. I put makeup on, and I'm like, you're right. I guess I don't. Another button to learn, another platform to push. What is happening? Okay, fine. I'll try it. See if I like it, and I actually like it, right? But from what I've learned from that is that you have to just take risks, whatever that is, right? And just jump into it and be a hot mess. And I think our perfectionism attitude or the fear of being judged gets in the way. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. Of course, I have my podcast, you can see, and you'll be my guest before too long. And the whole thing with I've had people when I invite them, they go, I don't know what to say. I don't have anything to say, or I'm nervous. And then I had the most wonderful compliment from my last guest last week. And when she messaged me back afterwards, she goes, "You're so easy to talk to." I said, "I told you it was going to be easy." And I just like to help people take the angst out of when I'm working with them, what be it a coach or writing or whatever. I want to help people take the angst away and just say, just relax and be yourself, because that's the only way. And you're on camera a lot too. We just have to be who we are. The authenticity has to come through.
Yeah, so I have 4 live shows every week, every single week.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, well, I used to teach 7 hours live every day, Monday to Thursday.
Woo.
Yeah,
Wow.
I teach business, Excel, PowerPoint, organizational leadership, social media marketing,
Wow.
MBA courses. Like, I teach all day, all night, and I've been doing it for 14 years. So it comes naturally to
Yeah.
me, but it's different when you're in a classroom than you are live and talking to somebody who's nervous on the other end. The
Mhm.
power of conversation is everything. That is the reason why I don't script my conversation. I used to, quite honestly, the first 10 episodes, I think I give them like, because they're so nervous, and I was also new. So, and all the people that I interview has to be a PhD or DBA. That was my criteria because I was a dean.
Mhm.
And so everybody who's in that conversation was all about education and how we can help our students. And so that's the reason why I had that, and I had to script it because these people are very structured and they're like, what am I supposed to talk about? I'm like, well, let's talk about organizational leadership. That's what you teach, like you've been doing that. And so and what I've noticed is that, and I've realized is that when you script something, they tend, because they wrote it, they tend to read it verbatim. And if they miss a word or two, they're off their game
Yep.
because they want that perfection of structure. And I'm
Mhm.
like, oh yeah, we're not doing that anymore. We can't do that. We just go with the flow, like whatever comes out, right? And that's
Right.
being authentic. And so I love that. I really want to talk about how in your framework, like how did you get into your journaling and creating this journal about courage, confidence, and connection?
I started journaling probably 30 years ago now, and I have about 35 journals I've filled. I was going through some tough stuff back when I started, and I don't remember anybody ever using the term journaling. I just wanted to write, what I was thinking and write out what I was dealing with. And as it turns out, when I go back, CJ, and look at those, I go, wow, I I've come so far. But I just started writing out what was on my heart and what I needed to get out of my head. And that was probably the motivation to start with. I would take a book and then I would make notes, or I would think about the problem I was dealing with, and write out everything. A friend of mine called it a brain dump, but just writing came naturally and has grown over the years. And so it was just getting started probably 30 years ago, like I said.
Wow. When I actually look at it, it's funny that people in America journaling is something new, but in Asia, literally, I think as I can fast remember, maybe I was 3 or 5 years old.
Wow.
We already had Hello Kitty journals. We were encouraged to write our frustrations because we couldn't speak. Literally, you have to be, that old school, like you can be seen but not
Wow.
heard or anything else, and
Oh
you
yeah.
don't speak when there's adults, talking.
Mhm.
And so we were encouraged to write journals, and we would be given Hello Kitty, and we have the little locket, like a little locket. And so I'm like, okay, so I've been writing since I was 5, literally.
Wow.
Granted, it's been a different language, but when I look at when it comes to the courage, right? I call it the 3 C's, right? Courage, confidence, and
Mhm.
all that. The 3 C's for discovering the blueprint when it comes to courage, I feel like you need to face the mirror and
Mhm.
not the mask, right?
Right.
You can't grow if you don't face what's holding you back.
Right.
When you identify your fear, write down your top 3 fears right now. If you guys are listening to this right now, what is your top 3 fears? Is it rejection, like you get rejected? And I'm gonna have a conversation with that with my daughter. She said, "This is my 17-year-old, going 18." She said, "Mom, I think the boys in your days are cooler than the boys in my days." I said, "Why?" She goes, all of my girlfriends have like boyfriends, which I'm okay with. It's not like I can't have them. They all, like 4 or 5 boys wanted to ask me, but I'm like, okay, what's that face? And she goes, first of all, you ruined me. That's what she told me. She's like, you just got my standards really high that I don't even want to settle with nobody. And secondly, she said,
Wow.
I feel like the boys they want to be pursued.
Mhm.
They want you to ask them first.
Wow. That is different.
And I don't know what it is, mom. It just feels wrong. And I'm like,
Mm.
yeah, don't settle for less. Right. And so that
Right.
is, the fear of rejection, I think most people. And then failure. For me, honestly, full disclosure, my fear is always abandonment because I've been abandoned as a child. So I have an abandonment issue. I will leave the relationship before you can leave me.
Mm.
I've always been like that in my past relationship. And I don't even think I've talked about that. But my husband
Wow.
knows that. My abandonment is my issue for sure. And I still have it. I'm still carrying that, right? But then I ask, whose voice is behind this fear? Is it mine or is it someone else's?
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And then reframe each fear with one empowering belief that you have. And then the second step that I do is take those micro brave actions. And I mean micro, guys, okay? Courage isn't about big leaps like, oh my God, I'm going to really run that marathon and you've never run in your life, right? It's not going to happen. It's a daily decisions.
It
Like
is.
speak up in a meeting when you're always on the corner, right? Or set boundaries when you have to work 9 to 5 and then at 5:30 your boss calls you. No, don't pick up that phone, okay?
Right.
Say yes to something uncomfortable, but make sure that it aligns with your mission. And then the third step for me is to build a courage ritual. Okay.
Mhm.
Morning mantra. I can do hard things today. I can do this. Like, and then in the evening, you have evening reflection. Like, where did I show up bravely today? Right? Be intentional with your thoughts because remember, we're walking 95% subconscious. So whatever you're feeding behind your brain and your actions is stuck there. So have a weekly challenge for yourself. One action that makes your heart race in a good way, guys. Okay. In a good way. What do
Mhm.
you think about those?
I think those are great ideas. And another thing I would encourage people to do is, along with writing out those fears and kind of looking introspectively where those came from, if you can. Sometimes we don't know; they're buried too deep. However, write out your three gratitudes every day too. Find three things that you're really grateful for, and another little thing you can add to that is why. I'm grateful for my so and so because because if you don't know why you're grateful or why you're afraid, it's just going to still sit there and churn. And and it is a courageous act. I've had people say, "Well, I'm not a writer," and that's not the point. The point is you're writing for you. A friend of mine told me, as I'm working on my next book, said, "Write like you're writing to yourself. Don't write like you're writing for anybody else." And that's how journaling is. Just write for yourself. It's to you, it's for you. You're not writing. And I did this for a while. I had a problem. I would write like somebody else was going to read my journals. And I caught myself many times like, nobody's going to look at this. And if they do, you'll be gone because, it'll be part of my legacy. And that's what it's about. But it's about you healing whatever might be there. It's about healing. And we don't like facing our fears, of course. I think fear of success is a pretty big one in these days and times, not just the failure, but being afraid of how will I change. I had that conversation with someone yesterday, and they mentioned, well, you might be afraid of what it's going to look like when you don't have the problems that you're dealing with. And boy, did that open up my eyes to go, wow, I'd never thought of it like that. Um, if I don't have the issue I'm dealing with now, what's it going to look like? And so facing those things is really important, but don't forget your gratitude and why you're grateful. Like your bulldogs, why, besides the fact they keep you awake at night. but
Uh,
but those are some thoughts that might help somebody to just take it up a notch, level up, as you say.
Yeah, I love that. I'm gonna address the fear of success, but I want to talk about actually let's address that right now because my ADHD brain's gonna lose my my thoughts. um I think okay, so symptoms of fear of success is procrastination on big goals. You say you want, right? You procrastinate because you're like,
Mhm.
I don't know if I want that. Shrinking yourself around others who don't dream big sometimes is fear of success, also. Quitting projects when they start gaining traction because you don't know what's going to happen after that,
Mhm.
downplaying wins so you don't stand out too much,
Right.
and sabotaging relationships or opportunities that brings visibility. But why is there a fear of success? Well, first of all, what you most people will ask this, what if I can't keep it up?
Mhm.
Right? What if people expect more from me? What if success changes me or isolates me?
Yeah.
What if I outgrow the people around me?
Oh
Right?
boy.
All of these what if. But to be honest with you, all of those are true. Yes, it is. You're like, what if? So what is what I say. What if I can't keep up? You're right. I can't keep it up sometimes. So I just do this, this, and this. It looks like there's so many things, but I streamline my process. Yeah, okay, I can't keep it up. I drop it. So
Mhm.
what? Who
Yeah.
cares?
Another thing too is everybody's definition of success
It's
is
different.
different.
Yeah.
And comparison is a very, very horrible thing to get
Flip.
into. It's like, I want to do what they do and be like they are. No, you don't. You're not them.
No.
And so when you're looking at success, you've got to identify what it means to you.
Yeah,
So,
I love that. Well, when we talk about confidence, and I'm going to talk about confidence on your framework, for me, owning my worth without apology.
mhm,
Confidence isn't personality trait, it's a practice. Right? Track your wins, guys. Create a confidence file if you have to. I actually do that every time I have milestones, big, small, in between, whatever, certificates, whatever. I keep it in a folder, right? Also, if you're working, I definitely tell my students to create a portfolio when you're working. Anytime you get appraisals from your boss, who's like number five, or manager number five, anytime that you did continuing education for your work, I keep that in. Anytime that you get a raise, I keep that in, so that when you have your annual review with your manager, you have a folder to give and
Mm,
say, these are some of the things that's happening this year. I would love to move up to this, right? Because it's all about, people call that today receipts. It's all about that receipts, right?
mm,
Collect testimonials, compliments, and achievements, even if it's the small ones. And people are like, that's vanity. No, it's called receipts, people. Like when you go to court, if you don't have any proof of anything happening, you're accusing somebody, it doesn't go anywhere. It's the
mm-mm.
same thing. If you want something to happen, it's receipts. If you want yourself to have that confidence, you need receipts for yourself,
Right.
right? So it's the same concept in a different environment. Step two for me is embodying my strength. I work on my weaknesses, yes, but I embody my strength. Take the strength assessment, guys. There's Gallup, there's DISC, there's VIA, right?
Hmm.
Focus on expressing your top three strengths every day in your life. What is your top three strengths? Okay, first of all, I talk a lot. So that's my strength. Okay. Secondly, I love structuring. So I can structure everything. And third, I can marry thoughts and convenience of like having those structure, but also lots of technical stuff. I can marry those two. Confidence comes from alignment, not perfection. You can only literally go to that journey every day, trying your best, and practice posture and presence, like shoulders back, which I don't sometimes, eye contact. And then
Right.
another thing is when I get really like excited, I can't slow down my speech. And most of them saying, hey, slow down, take a relaxing moment. I have to really get my brain to like slow down, CJ, take it,
Mm,
right? Do
right.
power poses before high stress moments. When you come into that boardroom, be confident, put it in your brain, I got this. Who doesn't have that? I got this, right? Speak affirmation that starts with I am, not saying I hope or I wish, don't hope, you are,
Hmm.
right? That to me is my
Exactly. Embrace
framework of confidence. What about you?
it. Yeah, wow, that was a lot. So, for me, confidence has come through looking, like you said, the wins, looking at what I've been through and looking at how did I come through that? I don't remember even thinking I was courageous or confident. And and yet that's why journaling has been so important because it's helped me track my wins and writing down what has helped me come through things, plus learning how to step back and evaluate versus just react to something, and learning how to respond. Because I've had situations come up recently that have done this in the past and I handled it differently now. I go, okay, I observe myself. So if you can observe yourself when something happens and say, okay, why did that provoke me? Or it's important to write this stuff out so you can go back and say, I did better this time. And I had an incident recently. I think I talked about this on another live stream with a different host. And I was going back through an old journal. I just randomly picked one and said, okay, what did I write? And I found something where I didn't, I know that I have had a problem with, and here's some candor for you guys to, some being very transparent here, but I've had a problem with being defensive, but I denied it and denied it and denied it. However, when I was looking back through this journal, I opened right to a place where I had journaled that somebody told me, nobody's out to get you. You don't need to defend yourself. So I went, oh my word, even back then, and this was 20 years ago. 20 years ago, I wrote this. It was a wake up call for me to go, I need to be more aware of this particular thing that has troubled me. And what it has helped me to do is see more clearly. So when you're writing, when you write out your thoughts and then you go back and go, oh my goodness, I've really changed. There's a big win. It's huge. If you don't celebrate yourself, who's going to? And you're right, it's not vanity. It's not vanity. It's not having a big head. It's if you don't like yourself, why do you think other people will?
I want to actually write on that conversation because I still am defensive. I can
Oh.
be defensive. Okay, like I
Mhm.
actually was worse when I was younger, and I think there's so much more to unpack in there. It's not a one thing, one reason why people are defensive in general, but
Mhm.
what I found getting into more of the psychology, I've been trying to get certified on a lot of things. Actually a coach practitioner for cognitive behavior therapy. And the reason for that's because I have issues that I wanted to align myself with. But really, what is defensiveness, right? Defensiveness is an emotional reflex. Like, you know how when you go to the doctor and they have this little hammer on your knee and they hit that and your knee go wink, right? That's the same thing for us when it comes to being defensive. That knee going jerking and around is an
Mhm.
emotional reflex. It's your nervous system shouting, I feel judged. I feel attacked. I feel
Mhm.
exposed. I must protect myself. That's literally what your self is doing, your subconscious is doing.
It is.
Defensiveness isn't just about what was said, it's about what it means to you.
Mhm.
Take this when someone, like a stranger, you walk, right? You walk, you feel confident, you're walking around, you're like, hey, I feel hot today. And someone just started, you're like, oh my gosh, you look ugly. And you're like, what the? Right? Because like inside, but it will bother you a little bit. It's not as much. But when your spouse or your child or your best friend said, CJ, you kind of look ugly today, it hurts like a dagger. Not that anyone would say that to me lately, but I'm just
I
saying.
couldn't imagine that.
I'm not like, oh wow, how rude. Get out of here, biatch. Like I literally will say that. But imagine that's just like to the extent, but imagine that, right? It hurts
Mhm.
more when it's somebody that you actually care about, right?
It does.
So common triggers is a perceived threat to your competence. That's not
Mhm.
how I do it. You didn't did what are you doing about, right? Or unprocessed shame. You're saying I'm not good enough. Inside you feel that. Or the past trauma being reactivated. I've been blamed before. Now what am I doing wrong? I'm not doing this again. I'm not doing it, right? Or
Right.
lack of trust in the person or the environment. When you don't feel safe, you're going to be defensive. But like you're right, no one's out to get you. But see, because we're conditioned to be defensive, because we're always in this environment that's negative for us, why do we do it? I don't know. We just do, right?
We
So
just been
maybe say out loud internally, I feel urgently to defend myself, but you don't have to. Take a deep breath. And, I watch people when they get defensive. I'm sorry, when they get like threatened or
Mhm.
like say something, I get so attracted to people who compose themselves and they're like, oh, okay. And I learned from that. Like my grandmother, she went through a lot, like a lot, and she still has a smile on her face. And I always ask, like, why when people hurt you? She goes, honey, they're hurting too. I don't take it personally. I'm like, how do you not take it personally? They're literally saying that to your face. And she goes, oh, I don't really care what they say at that point. It's just me. I know myself. And
Mhm.
that really stuck to me. And I'm like, oh, that means I don't know myself because I get defensive when people say that. And now I still do it, but not as much because I know myself and I know what my capabilities are. I've seen myself in action. So when people judge me, I'm like, it's either you're jealous or you're just wanting to be me. Bye, fan. Like that's what I always
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. But let's talk about your journal because we're on that halfway mark. This is
Are we
part
already? Wow.
I know in that conversation. Now, when you're talking about, connection, this is the thing that I want to kind of segue us in, right? Connection is this is okay. This is kind of somewhat emotional. Like sometimes you're lonely.
Mhm.
Loneliness to link. Like a lot of people have a lot of friends and surrounded by so many people, but they still feel lonely because true connection starts when you stop performing and actually start revealing, right?
Right.
Deepening your self connection. Daily journaling, like you said, is ask yourself simple question, guys. How do I really feel today? Right? And meditate or quiet walks to reconnect with yourself. Some people can't meditate, they just walk and just
Mhm.
kind of turn off your phone and literally just walk in your backyard if you don't want to walk, right? Just go in your backyard and smell the roses, literally physically smell the roses.
Literally.
Yeah. And just connect with nature, look at animals, right? And just look at everything and be grateful at that moment that you have the ability to do it, right? So can you tell us and talk about how you created your journal from like start to from start to end?
Wow. I was thinking about when I started writing my blogs, and I had a friend encourage me because I have so many stories. I'm a natural storyteller. And someone said, they were starting a blog. And I went, well, I've thought about that, but what is a blog? So I just did a little looking around to see what that involved. And I jumped on a very simple, basic blog site to start writing a few stories. This has been between 4 and 5 years ago. I was trying to remember when I actually started because I have about 160 blogs on my website now, I think. And it was about a little over a year ago. I had 100 and I guess 110 maybe on there. I have a friend that is a publisher and an editor, and I had the opportunity to work with her. And I said, well, what do you think about publishing my blogs? And she said, I think it's a great idea. But she's the one that came up with the journal idea, so I can't take credit for that. She said, because of the nature of your writing, we'll have a blog on one side. And by the way, I do have a journal here. And yes, it matches my podcast. I love that. That's kind of a branding thing for me. But so she said, you pick out 90 blogs. We were going to do 120, CJ, and that was going to be overwhelming. She said, that's too many. And so a 3-month journal is a fairly normal thing. Well, I picked out the 90 that I wanted to publish, starting with the first one is called Brave. And it is something you've got to, I think the first one's Brave. Yeah, being brave. That's my first one. Because I had to be brave and step up to what are people going to want to read? Well, I thought less about that than I thought about what I wanted to share. So I picked out those 90 blogs. She came up with the questions, and the side across from the blog itself in the journal has lines, has questions, prompting questions. A lot of times people say, I don't know what to write. Well, so we decided, in order to help people, have them read the blog and answer the questions to provoke thinking about what the blog is about. So they're all relevant. All the questions are relevant to the blog that is written. And that was about a little over a year ago. It was so much fun to put together. I got to say, though, I learned how hard it is to get a book ready. It is a lot of work. It came out of the consistent writing of my blogs and the storytelling. So what the blogs do is I tell on myself a lot. I get to laugh at my crazy stories from childhood and since. It has helped other people. I've gotten good testimonials from people saying that it really made a difference when they were reading my journal versus just trying to write something. They are able to read what I went through and relate to it. And the questions help them to see where they are in life and how they might be able to overcome. My goal was to help people to bolster up courage to do some writing and have the confidence in themselves, because this is not for you to take somebody and go, okay, I want everybody to read my journal. No, your journal is your private. We used to call them diaries, I guess, as teenagers, but they're called journals.
I have a lot of diaries. I had diaries on my cancer journey. I had diaries on my almost death 7 times. I have, diaries for my babies when I almost died and I don't want to have any more kids. And then whoops, we got second one,
Whoops.
So I have those, right?
Yeah.
Travis, I immensely resonate with this discussion as a holistic wellness coach consultant that practices meditation. this hits home. Yeah, I want to encourage you to actually write in there, Travis, what are some of the ways that you create courage, confidence, and connections, right? Because
Hmm.
that's what we're talking about with Janice's journal right now. I want to focus on the connection,
Okay.
Janice. Why
Yes.
is it important, right? Because we're writing this journal and it's all about you, but who are you connecting?
My It was really interesting how I came up with that title. But it was when I was doing my blogging and I didn't have this. I was sitting in my recliner. I was living somewhere that there was farmland out the window. It was a pretty day. And I think it was around this time of year. And all of a sudden, the three words courage, confidence, connections dropped. And I went, wow, that's really good. What do I do with that? And I didn't know at that point what I would do with it. However, the connections come from, like you said, we are all connected to everyone and everything. The connections didn't have a meaning for me until I realized that I'm always connecting people. I'm always bringing people together. And in the journaling part, you're connecting with yourself. I think you mentioned that a few minutes ago. You are connecting with you. You're connecting with that person that you may have ignored and silenced for all these years. You're connecting with the depth of, okay, I was a different person as a 10-year-old. Did something happen back then that the journal may prompt you to go, like we were talking about being defensive or having other issues or triggers? Maybe something happened, so this could help you reconnect with yourself. Maybe you've never connected with yourself. I had not. I grew up in a family that there was so there was such a lack of an emotional connection that it didn't dawn on me until I really got into this. And I'll tell you this too, folks. After I got my author's copy of my journal, CJ, I said, I'm going to do this myself. I can't recommend it if I don't walk through my own stuff here. And it was insightful. It was insightful for me to do that because I had to learn how to connect with me, and I had to learn how to embrace all of me, and good, bad, and ugly. And there are ugly sides to everybody. Believe me, we've all got an ugly side. But I had to see that. And I believe that the connections comes from not just connecting with other people. Of course, you do that, but
Yeah.
connecting with yourself.
Yes, and that is, thank you for sharing that. And that's what I'm saying. I think sometimes because we want so badly, I got to go back to Maslow's hierarchy on the third one, which is belongingness, right? And my sister Susanna always talk about belonging, is that because we walk around with our trauma like it's some kind of armor, literally,
Literal.
and basically we take that with us in any capacity, in any relationship, personal or professional or otherwise. If we are not in tune with ourselves, right, it's really hard to get that success, whatever that means. But
Mhm.
for me to connect with yourself, or to, I should say, the reconnect method is get quiet enough to hear yourself. You can
Mhm.
connect with yourself if you're drowning in noise, not just external but internal. Like I have 25 CJs in my head all the time. Okay, so I have to unpack that by writing. When I get mad, when I get sad, when I get frustrated, I write. And when I write, especially when I'm mad at some process, I actually can write a book, 60,000 in 3, 4, 5 hours. I can write really fast. And then I read it. I'm like, okay, did that make sense? Like, like, did that make sense? And some of it, yeah, I'd say it makes sense. A lot of it, I'm like, okay, this is gibberish. What happened? I'm like, well, I was mad, and it doesn't even, and then sometimes I write it in different languages. I'm like, wait, what language did I write it down? Like, you know what I mean? I know 7 different languages, so I'm like, wait, what? And I realize that I go back to my roots, either Old Latin or Visaya, when I'm really
Mm.
upset. And so having those still sit in stillness, and I know April's here, having that 5 to 10 minutes of just quiet. Don't even write, don't do nothing, just pay attention to your breathing.
Absolutely.
And box breathing helps a lot. Like just having those 4 circles, like 5 seconds hold, release, 5 seconds, hold, release. It aligns you. And
Mm.
also, your journal is like a truth teller. I highly suggest you guys write your journal, and I'd say every quarter, read some of them. Read some of them, right?
Mhm.
And
Right.
see what you have done. Actually, if you guys, I don't know, I have an issue with calendar. I'm just trying to tell you, I have like 17 calendars. Look, don't ask me why. And I like physical. I'm old school. I like to write down. I like my highlighters. I love everything about journaling. So if you don't know, when you put in a calendar, write down what happens today. If you have ADHD, you forgot 5 minutes, what the heck you did. Okay. So just write down on that journal slash calendar. And that's what I told Susanna too. Write it down. And then every day you're like, wait, what did I do yesterday? Right. And I would just cross out. And in the back of my head, my subconscious was like, wow, you were productive. And don't overwhelm yourself. 3 big things a day is what I suggest. Just big things a day. Picking up your kids, that's normal. Okay. That's not a big deal. Okay. You can't not just not pick up your kids from school. But I'm saying 3 big things for yourself. What did you do for yourself? And just cross it out. And every day you look and flip in that calendar, because your calendar you have to look anyway, because your journal you put it out and you're like, don't touch it. But with your calendar, to make it a daily habit, you can actually reflect on what you did. And there's some calendars, there's a notes. What I do with my notes is I have a mantra, and then I write down my frustration. And then the next day, and I'm like, oh, I need to do better on that frustration today. So what it is it in your brain, it's intentional, right? So I take the journaling further by having your calendar and literally saying, okay, I'm intentionally, yesterday I was upset about something, and this is what I'm upset about. Why? I'm not getting wrinkles for that. Like, that's what I always say, Jen. I'm not getting
Like,
wrinkles, right?
right.
And I love that you talk about self-discovery blueprint, because at the end of the day, I feel like we map ourselves out for the future by our past, and we don't move on from our past, even though we know we should, but we don't.
Right.
We get stuck in our own ways because we're stuck in our own brain. How
Mhm.
does journaling, in your experience, since you've done your own journal as well, help you move through from that stuck place to discovering your own blueprint?
That's a good question. It's it involves listening to yourself. I like the breathing. I do some breathing stuff too. It's important to listen to yourself. And there's times I go, where did that come from? What in the world am I thinking? It's a good thing to write it down, because like I said, when you go back, you might be surprised how much better you're doing and how you handle things differently. From getting stuck, the writing is paramount. In walking through my own journal and reading my own blogs, I found typos, but you know what? I laughed at my typos and went, "Okay, I'm not perfect. I can deal with that." Whereas for me in the past, perfectionism was like, "Oh my gosh, what are people going to think? She can't even type. She can't even, spell right." And my mother was an English major, and so I'm a little hard on myself for mistakes and things like that. But what it's done for me is help me see why I got stuck, if I got stuck. Just writing it out. What mindset am I in that kept me stuck? And I had this conversation again yesterday with somebody. We were talking about the financial side of being stuck, and how to get free of that mindset. But and everybody's got an opinion, and yours counts. Write to yourself, and let yourself be heard, even if you're the only one listening. That is so important. Respect yourself enough to know that your voice matters, even if you're the only one reading it.
Yeah, I think we need to get out of the way of the vanity measures of like, what if someone reads it? So what if someone reads it? Literally, you're gonna read it. You know what I mean? Like, uh, so I say stop gaslighting your own emotions just to stay
Yeah,
strong, right? Because we
right.
do that. Travis, thank you for your service, sir. He said, when I got out of the military, I had PTSD very bad. After a certain night, I started meditating to confront and face the things I have done, things I have gone through and faced myself. I connected with myself and I haven't had a bad night in over 16 years. Congratulations. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Maybe you should come up here and we have live for you. Because I have a lot of students. My students right now are predominantly retired military. So this would definitely help them. It truly is important to connect with yourself to start healing. I agree completely. Yes, it is. Right. And again, guys, stop gaslighting your own emotions. Just
Mm,
to stay strong. It's so not funny. Susanna says, yes, telling me to do 3 big things each day. I just need to remember to write down what I did. I usually, after I forget them. Yeah. So I've been working on Susanna on that one. I'm her coach, trying to figure it out with her. That's important too, is when you trust the people that you're working with, not because sometimes I feel like this facade that, like, I'm trying to help you, but literally they're trying to break you down.
yeah.
Some people are like that. You gotta stay away from that. Like, it's hard sometimes because their mask is so strong that you can't see beyond if they're really trying to help you or they're trying to take you apart, right?
Yeah.
But it's hard. So I say reframe by saying self connection isn't a luxury, guys. It's your anchor in a chaotic world, believe me, right? You don't have to fix yourself
Okay.
to connect. You just have to listen long enough to hear what's actually real and what's noise. That's
Mhm.
all I'm saying. Now, for Janice's journal, I actually have it down below. I also posted the link on LinkedIn, guys, in the comment section if you wanted to check it out. And Janice, when we buy your journal, is there like a signature? You ship it to us? How does that work?
When you order the journal through the link that CJ shared, it comes from me personally. I write you a personal note and I autograph it. I sign it in the front so that you have a signed copy from me. And I always write a note of something, depending on if I know you or if I don't. But it's something of encouragement. I always like to write a thank you note and sign the book. And I do that when you order directly from me. I'm on Amazon, but frankly, if you want a signed copy, it's more personal, and I appreciate it more if people order directly from me. And yes, a signed copy is what you'll get.
That's awesome. So the link is already there, but can you give a is there like a chapter on each of those journals, or is it just one kind of big journal? It's 8.5 by 11, right?
It's 8.5 by 11. There are 90, there's 186 pages. There are 90 entries in here. So you've got a 90-day journal. And um, now I just spaced what you asked me. That was crazy. Okay.
ADHD moment.
Yeah, absolutely. But I don't know if anybody can see it, but I've got beautiful pictures in here, and then there's a space for writing on the other side with the questions that are prompting. It's for, when you buy it, you write whatever you want, whether you use the questions or not, or that's not relevant. It's to help you open up to yourself and feel free to laugh at my antics. I have got some crazy stories, things that I've done, or yeah, and there's more to come, I'm sure. I'm working my way towards a second journal. I'm not quite there yet, but probably another 40 more blogs and I'll be there.
Wow, a lot of work that goes with it, guys. It's all about passion. It's all about helping ourselves and helping others at the same time in that same journey, right? So
Right.
I love that. And today actually was just a wonderful day having you here. But at the end of the day, the most important relationship you'll ever have is the one you have with yourself.
Yes. Yes.
Not your job title, not your achievements, not your degrees, not your social feed, just you. Raw, real, and whole. Okay. Because when
Mhm.
you finally slow down enough to sit with yourself, not to fix, not to judge
Great.
or edit, okay,
Right.
to simply be,
Hmm.
realize you were never broken. You were just buried under expectations, noise, and the roles you thought you had to play.
Hmm.
This is your invitation, guys, to come home to yourself. Come home to your breathing. Come home to your body. Come home to the voice you silenced to fit in. Come home to the version of you that was waiting for permission to be fully seen and heard. Because
Yeah.
when you're connected to yourself, everything else gets actually clearer. Your boundaries, your vision, your worth. Your courage isn't borrowed. Your confidence isn't manufactured. And your connections, they go from shallow connections to
Mhm.
sacred connections. So here's the truth: you don't need more fixing. Okay. You need more listening. You don't need to hustle harder. You need to hear your own heartbeat. You don't need anyone else's validation to know that you are enough. You just need to remember who you were before the world told you who you to be. And you probably don't know because from inception, since you were born all the way, you were a blank page. You came in a blank page. But everybody else, your family, your brothers, your sisters, your enemies, your friends, your best friends, your ex best friends, your ex husband, your ex boyfriend, whatever, told you who should you be, right? So
Right.
to me, the blueprint, that's the breakthrough. That's the beginning. And journaling and the journal like Janice's have for us is something that is a starting point, the beginning of your journey, not the end, not like I'm going to fix myself tomorrow. It doesn't work like that. It's a
Mm.
journey. Journaling is a reflection. It doesn't work if you write something and you're not working at it. You write something, you reflect. That's why it's journaling. You
Mm.
reflect, whether you do it every week, whether you do it every quarter or every month, reflect on it. See,
Mm.
what have I done differently? If you, I have a, like a black and white attitude. Like if it's not right, then it's wrong. I didn't have a gray area, to be honest. And my sisters actually, they don't know, and maybe they do, have helped me look at life that there is a gray area, right? There is a gray zone. And sometimes we actually flourished and grow in the gray zone where the color is not so colorful to others. It's gray to others, but for
Mhm.
us, it's bursting with so much colors because
Yeah.
that's the growth. But it hurts. Growth hurts. There's a lot of crying. There's a lot of pain. There's a lot of cursing. There's a lot of throwing shoes at my house when I'm frustrated. Okay. Um, but it's growth, right? So thank you for this time, Janice. I appreciate you so much.
Thank
Any
you.
last minute that you would like someone to really think about your journal and why it's different than other journals?
It's different because it's personal from me to you, whoever you might be that buys it. You get to see how someone's come through some things that you may have experienced and need some encouragement to just be yourself and laugh at yourself, enjoy your life. It's very different because I've never seen another journal that was written like this. And I've looked at lots of them. I've got about 30 some here. And it's an encouraging journal. It's real. I'm real. I told somebody yesterday, what you see is what you get. I am very transparent, very open. It's not like anything else out there. I will tell you that because you're looking at a life and going, well, if she can do it, maybe I can too. And you pause and reflect on how you can get through something. And yeah, looking at somebody else's life, that's why we read books and stuff. So
I don't want it to end. I think it's a great conversation. It's a great framework. But Charles, thank you. I love what you commented and write on my thoughts also. But I love this one. Personal growth is painful due to discomfort. It's
mhm,
worthwhile for deeper understanding and fulfillment. Yeah, there's a lot of trauma to unpack.
mhm, mhm,
Sometimes you don't want to relive the trauma. I just have a traumatic event that happened to me, I think when I was 6, and I didn't realize it. When my grandma died, it triggered it. And I was like, wait, what? That happened? I don't remember. Right. And then now I feel like I'm living a nightmare over and over. I'm like, oh my God, I don't, and I can't undo it because my brain just clicked. I was like, yeah, yeah. So I've been off my rocker for the last 2 weeks. I just have a lot of
mhm.
emotional baggage to unpack. But at the same time, I know myself, um, at least 80% of me. I think you can never know yourself 100%. But I'm working on it, just like everybody else.
Just like everybody else.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
beyond boundaries, driving in life's gray zone. Yes, sister, we did because I don't I see things black and white. I was raised that way. Either you do good or you're wrong, and I'm right and you're wrong. Like that's literally right.
Right.
And you can't grow like that as a
No, you
person.
can't.
Grow.
Mhm.
And so in order for me to grow, I had to be happy in the gray zone. And actually, when I stay in the gray zone, I see more colors in there, so which I love. So thank you for being here today, Janice. And
You-
again, guys, Janice's journal is available on Amazon, but I would love a signature instead of just being on Amazon. So if you guys want, there's a link on the LinkedIn as well as here on our YouTube channel. So thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful Thursday. Bye, everybody. I will see you on Sunday. And if you are in Influencing You, I will see you tomorrow. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Are you a curious student, eager to learn new skills and make your mark in the world? Or are you a professional seeking to advance your career and unlock your full potential? You need to be equipped with effective soft skills like communication, problem solving, teamwork, and more. The Level Up Academy by Doc Leland bridges the gap between education and employment through transferable skills training. Get the soft skills you need to be more effective at work.